to be quite honest, Jimbo, if we don't win the game on Saturday, I don't want to hear an excuse. We should win Saturday. And that's not me being big-headed.
You don't need those levels and layers of protection, I don't think.
We are still everyone or most teams' cup final in this league.
A good, strong 10-game run, something like that to reinvigorate and change people's mindsets.
Hope is the word for me, Jimbo. They've got to offer hope.
Free the attackers, man.
You're preaching to the converted there, Jimbo, that's for sure. Are you confident, I guess, is the first question.
No.
There end if this podcast then, folks. The Town make our third trip to the Pirelli Stadium on Saturday afternoon to take on Burton Albion in another League One contest. And alongside me to look ahead to the game is the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe. Jimbo, played 2, lost 2. Please tell me it's third time lucky.
It had better be.
It had indeed. You're not wrong. Yeah, we'll look ahead to the game of football right after this intro. Hello everyone, welcome along to the latest episode of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast, the award-winning, longest-running Luton Town podcast, having scooped bronze in the Best Football League podcast category in the Football Content Awards. This season, the show is in association with Solid, providing opportunities, provisions and assistance so our academy can fulfil their potential. As I mentioned prior to the intro, we're looking ahead at Burton Albion versus Luton, Saturday 3 p.m. There's no UK TV coverage of this one, so if you don't have a ticket to the away end, you're going to have to find other ways and means of following the game. But one thing that you will definitely get is an instant reaction from me after the game as I come out of the away end, Jimbo.
They're going all right, aren't they? People are enjoying them, or they're watching them. I don't know if they're enjoying them, but they are watching them.
I suspect they didn't enjoy the one after Cardiff, but let's hope the one after Burton is so much more enjoyable because we're talking about a win. Where are we in this one, Jimbo? I mean, this is a game that Luton should win, right? They're odds on at the bookmakers to win this game, and there aren't many away teams that are odds on very often. So that, in a nutshell, tells you the expectations around Luton. But listen, Saturday told us that we can't turn up and just roll anyone over. We've got to match their intensity, their work rate, their ambition, and then let our class prevail. But are you confident, I guess, is the first question.
No.
There end if this podcast then, folks.
I should tell you why I'm not confident. It's because we've probably thought about this every time we've played Burton, which isn't many. 4 times in our history we've played Burton Albion, and we've won once, and they've won all the other ones. So that's why I'm not confident. And on top of the results that we've had, or the performance we've had this season. But in theory, on paper, and it's never played on paper, that Luton should go there and win. But I don't think anybody could be outright confident on this one.
Yeah, as I mentioned in the intro, we've been to the Pirelli Stadium twice, once in League 2 when we were beaten and once in League 1 where we were beaten. Obviously, Luton fans more likely to remember the latter than the former because we went there hoping to be crowned League 1 champions that day, didn't we? Or promotion, sorry, not champions. Hoping to be crowned promoted from League 1. Went 1-0 up under James Collins, all was hunky-dory. And then in a sort of 10-minute spell of madness in the second half, all turned and, well, let's be fair, it was probably the right way to do it anyway, wasn't it? With George Moncur scoring against Oxford to guarantee the title.
Yeah, I mean, that all turned out lovely in the end, but you just said James Collins scored, and wouldn't it be great to have a player of his predatory instincts in front of goal? Because that's obviously where it's lacking at the moment.
Is indeed, yeah. And actually, the lack of goals and the lack of goals from strikers, I don't know about you, Jimbo, but it's getting all the more annoying that you watch you see every single Derby score come through and C. Morris is scoring for them, and it's like, what could have been.
Well, yeah, but what happened to him last season is kind of the thing because, and it may just be that he's had a pretty good start and it tails off. Who knows? We have to wait and see. I hope he goes and does some good things, but the evidence of what we saw when he was out of Luton and the previous years of his career was that one season getting to the Premier League was the only one where he'd hit anything beyond probably 11 goals per season. So it's not our problem to worry about, but why couldn't he do that here last season?
Indeed, yeah. If you're a Burton fan watching this, we're not going to proclaim that we know everything about your team. We don't. Haven't played you for 7 years. And, I mean, the only thing I know really, Jimbo, is they stayed up by one place last season. Going better this season. I think they were dead and buried, actually, last season. And then Gary Bowyer came in as manager and got them on an unbelievable run that kept them in the division. And to be fair to them, a win, a draw and 2 defeats, there's nothing wrong with that, is there, from their 4 games? They've only played 4 games because they had their cup tie last midweek rather than the league games, so they're a game behind everyone else. Their win was against Mansfield, first day of the season. They've drawn against Port Vale, and they've been beaten by by Barnsley. I nearly said Blackpool, by Barnsley, and by Stockport. Led 2-0 against Barnsley, lost 3-2. That one might hurt. And led Stockport 1-0 and lost that 2-1. Although, to be fair, Norwood's free kick at the weekend was, chef's kiss top corner job, and you don't keep them out. So, yeah, I get the impression that they're probably a little bit better than what their league position would tell us. But in terms of sort of standout individuals, I mean, the only thing I could find from the stats sites is that Jake Beasley, striker, has the second highest XG in this division at 3.5. He's only scored 1 goal, so he'd be very welcome in a Luton front line. It creates lots of chances and doesn't score, but it would be a name that jumps out as someone that will need watching.
Yes, but the stats you reeled off before then suggest to me that maybe for the first time this season, the first goal's not going to be king if Luton were to concede that first goal, because they've had lots of other teams come back at them before. Caveat that with, we haven't got those goals in us at the minute to suggest that there's any coming back from 1-0 down at the moment, but we'll we'll park that point just for the moment. But that looks like a useful, I was going to say marker. It's not a marker. A useful chance for us to get back on the victory trail.
It does, yeah. Yeah. As you said that, though, I'm trying to think of the last time we went a goal down and turned the game around to win, and I'm sure it'd be a really, really obvious answer, but off the top of my head, can't really think of it. Have you got a possible?
Would it be Cardiff last season? Probably.
Might well be, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there would be, wouldn't it? There weren't many wins after that, and certainly the Bristol City and the Coventry wins weren't from behind, were they? And yeah, good shout, Cardiff. Shame we couldn't have done that on Saturday, but so be it. Familiar face in
Had
this.
the chances to.
Oh, they did. Familiar face. Well, not necessarily after we went behind, but certainly during the game, yeah. Familiar face in this Burton squad. Harry Arstead. We know all about him. He was here probably the last time we were in League One, actually. Never really broke through, though, did he? He had that sort of 85 minutes against Chelsea after Jed Steer got injured and a couple of starts after that. But manager after manager after manager, for whatever reason, seemingly didn't like him. We kept on bringing in loan after loan after loan, Alex Palmer and Ingham and the likes. And
although the loan scenario back then was if you brought somebody in, a goalkeeper on loan, you had to play them.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't think it was necessarily, I think we said it at the time, not that it was Eistead's fault. And Luton fans really liked him. Certainly that Chelsea game did him, everybody really looked at that and went, he could be the man. It's just a shame how things worked out, I suppose.
Yep. He's not the man at Burton, though. He's been on the bench for them in their league games. So there obviously is another goalkeeper there that seemingly better than him, because they wouldn't play anyone else otherwise. Top scorer Charlie Webster scored both goals earlier in the season in that win. I don't know too much about him, I've got to be honest. We don't know much about Burton. We've looked through the stats. There isn't anything that they're massively clear on. ultimately, it kind of feel, Jimbo, that this one's about us. We're not playing a team that listen, they might play above themselves. We are still everyone or most teams' cup final in this league. Two of the teams that we've played in recent times, Wigan and Bradford, their managers have mentioned that we were a Premier League team 15 months ago. It's in the mindset of all of these teams that we play against, and Burton are going to be no different. Obviously, probably one of the smaller teams in this league, without being disrespectful. Got a stadium that holds just less than 7,000 at the end of the day. And anytime they stay in this division, that's going to be a success for them. But this is about us, isn't it? This is about our attitude first and foremost. We have to make sure they're going to be up for the game. Of course they are. We have to make sure that we raise ourselves and that we have an intensity to match that, which we didn't do at Bradford. We have to make sure that we're up for the fight. They'll want to make it a fight, won't they? Scrappy, horrible game of football because they're much better. They've got a much better chance of winning that game than they have. They take us on at a game of football, and it'll be interesting to see how high they defend and everything else. But yeah, ultimately, this is about what's in our dressing room on Saturday, both in terms of matching the opposition and what we've got upstairs to respond to what happened last Saturday.
Yeah, response is the key, isn't it? I mean, we used to be quite confident that after a setback, we'd come back and, you know, draw or win the next game, which used to be the case. It was the case this season in the previous defeat against Bradford, went and somehow beat Wigan, despite the fact that they had a hat full of chances. So that still stands for them in it. So it's about reaction. It's about taking the chances. If you've got to still create them. It's about playing with more intensity, isn't it? Because that was one of the things you heard a lot. It was just too slow and too ponderous, and I get that, but you didn't have a lot of the ball against Cardiff either. So that's another thing you would want to see. But all of those things, you talked about the Luton way in the previous podcast, and I think they've got to find that way. Maybe it's the Luton way under Matt Bloomfield, I don't know, but they've got to find something that's going to excite fans and the travelling fans. So I think that'd be the order of the day.
Yeah, play forward would be the first things. Too much of going backwards, particularly in the away games. When we played forward against Peterborough, hey presto, looked like scoring all the time. And that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, we'd have to get onto it because, we did most of the last podcast about it. Is this the time that it changes formation, Jimbo, or are we just we've had a week between games. There's no we haven't had much time on the training ground excuse. I should just rubber stamp this that we're recording this early in the week. So if any new signings have come in ahead of this game that we don't know of, then well, let's hope that there are, but we won't be mentioning them in this podcast. But I would imagine any new signings are only on the bench anyway, given the way that we're building them all up to speed. Yeah, it would just be nice to play forward, and if a change of formation helps that, surely now is the time. I mean, I know they could say, well, look, let's get through this game, and then we've got 2 weeks before our next league game, and to an extent, okay, but not sure we're really in a position now where we can just write games off. Every game's got to be important, and if we're going to play this 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3 or whatever combination in front of a back four, let's do it now so that we can see what it's like and then have 2 weeks to work on the wrinkles of it rather than the unknowns of it.
I think just by the sheer weight of expectation and feeling from the weekend that something has to change, something has to give. They've got to make some concession to try and freshen it up and solve the issues that are currently being seen by not doing the same thing over and over again. And I think there's some very obvious ways you can do that. Whether they'll change the formation, I don't know. Maybe that will be let's wait until we've got 2 weeks clear run at it, if that would be the case. But somehow they've got to find a way of not making Miliali defend and making Burton have all the pressure of having to deal with his forward intent. That's the number one, I think.
Hope is the word for me, Jimbo. They've got to offer hope. They got to offer hope in the team sheet. I mean, there's 1,300 of us or so going, and it'll be a great atmosphere behind that goal, whether it's terracing. And, I love a terrace, me, and I know you do too. It's old school football. And obviously, it's sort of cheap enough to get in and all of that. So, with no sort of excuses not for being up for it in the crowd. But quarter to two, when the team sheet comes out, there's got to be some hope there. I wouldn't say I was devoid of hope when the team sheet came out against Coventry. I was still tucking into my all-you-can-eat breakfast up at the Brace, and a couple of people saw me there, and shout-outs to you for that. But I saw the team sheet, and I was like, no Bramall, no Kadir. And I was like, not really sure. I'd like to see that. Obviously, I'm not going to say that I don't care what formation we play in, but whatever formation it is that we play, I really want to see them two on the starting sheet again, because what are we waiting for otherwise?
Exactly that. You've got to play them to get them into fitness. I think the Kadir one, he did come off with some cramp in his calves from the previous games. You can understand that, but not for this one. With a week's rest, a week's preparation, you just got to throw all the attacking players at it that you can, and hope that this unfortunate situation in front of goal changes.
Yeah, I mean, it should do. The players themselves have scored goals. Jerry Yates scored loads of goals at Blackpool. Nicky Wells scored goals wherever it is that he's been. Obviously, Lasse Nordos is a bit of an unknown in that regard. But, if you give these people 10 chances, you'd expect them to score 6 times at this level. And that's what we've got to get back to doing. But I still maintain that we're going to score more goals when we have more people in the box, and that not every chance feels isolated pressure to it. And that's obviously where it brings about a formation change. People who we think might have a chance of being back, we're recording this before Matt's press conference. You might know more by the time that you listen to this. Mads Andersen would be one. Question now is, though, is there a place in the team? Because Mark McGuinness does look like Mark McGuinness again, but Mads Andersen's been brilliant until his injury.
Well, yeah, I mean, then it comes down to who's the better player. And, sometimes Mark McGuinness has really been strong, and other times he's been at fault for goals. And I think that his early Luton career was the latter, really. There was a lot of that. So who's going to be the stronger there? I get the sense that it would be McGuinness, just by the way Bloomfield talks, but has Mads done anything particularly wrong? And he scored goals, well, and so I would go for Mads at this stage, but I don't think that would happen. So I think it might be a moot point.
Agreed. Yeah. One thing we can all agree on is, if we stick with this back three, it's one of them in the centre and nobody anywhere else, because neither of them can play away from the centre. And that would be the interesting thing, wouldn't it? And that's another reason why it might be beneficial to all parties if we only just play two. And obviously Chris would be the other one, wouldn't he, in the centre, and then we find a position for Cal Naismith. I don't think that you should necessarily take a player out of the team after one bad game, but it was a particularly bad game against Coventry, so I do see Liam Walsh coming out of the team, particularly as Matt's apparently said in the aftermath of the game, and I've not heard him say this, but I've no reason to believe that he didn't say it to Mike Simmons of the Luton News, that he considered taking him off at half-time in that game. That tells me that he knew he was bad and probably won't put him in the firing line again.
Well, I think so. I mean, in the previous game, we were talking about whether it be Walsh or Shandon Baptiste coming in, and that Walsh would stay in because he had a good game in that sense. I think that there's got to be that reward for good games, and there's got to be the consequences, I guess, for not performing to your abilities. He has the ability, Liam Walsh. He just had a very bad game. So, yeah, I think that you would. Here comes out. Probably Baptiste goes back in.
Yep, that's fair enough. Although if we do go to a back four and Bramall plays, then you could play Cal Naismith alongside George Saville, couldn't you? George Saville definitely going to play, isn't he? Unless he's picked up an injury in the meantime. And then it's what you do with the front line. I mean, obviously, if we've got a front two, I think Yates has to start. I did feel a bit sorry for him on Saturday that in all of his Luton career so far, he's played the lone plough through the middle, and then finally there's a partner for a striker, and he's dumped onto the bench. I thought, how's your luck, son? Not in. But him and Wells could play alongside each other. I would like, if we stick with this formation, I would like us to play two up front. I just think we're too isolated otherwise, and I don't see these people behind the striker. I mean, Man United play that, don't they? But they don't do it particularly effectively. I just don't think we've got that. Nicky Wells is a striker, Jerry Yates is a striker, and Lasse Nordos is a striker. Maybe Corley Woodrow is one who could play in behind. We don't even know if he's going to be at the football club on Saturday. And Jordan Clark's the other one who's been playing there, but there's mixed results there. When he's good, he's good. When he's not so good, when we're not so good, he's maybe not so good there. So I'd like to see two up front. That's not to say that I wouldn't like us to play 4-3-3, in which case I wouldn't play two up front. But if we're playing three at the back, I'd like us to play two up front and put Wells and Yates alongside each other, because there are goals in the partnership, assuming we can give them the service. And I'll come on to the fullbacks in a minute.
I think that would be, as Wells is now fit, I think that would be the starting two. I think it's been more effective as a two when Nordos has been playing. Really, I know he hasn't got the goals, and he's still dividing opinion, but from what I've seen, that has been the case.
I agree. Yeah, listen, he's a much improved player from what we saw in those cameos last season, and they are only cameos, and you shouldn't really judge players on cameos. We've stressed that for however long we've been doing this podcast, but ultimately, if you're only given cameos, that is all that you can be judged on. But the start on Saturday, his hold-up play, again, really, really good. The passing of him was much better on Saturday. We were winning second balls off of him a lot more, which was good. But ultimately, he ain't in the team to look good. He's in the team, and he's paid whatever he's paid to stick ball in onion bag, and not enough of the strikers are doing it.
Well, no, all of them are. None of them have done that, really. I mean, Wells has got the 2 assists, so that's useful, but he should have scored his first goal for Luton at the weekend and fluffed his lines there. So you can say that about all of them. At the minute, you've got to try and find the best blend, haven't you? And that's what I'm saying. The best blend has been with Nordos in.
Yep. Do you think we changed formation Saturday?
Want and think, different two things, aren't they?
Absolutely. So do you think we do? No.
I don't, and I desperately want them to, because the evidence is there with everyone's own eyes, isn't it? And I think it's just, I don't understand how you can say they're trying to play that formation with the players they've got available when the players they've got available are not playing that formation well, or you're playing a centre-back as one of those wing-backs who doesn't attack, and that's not his job. So I'm not criticising him, but it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Indeed not, no. Square pegs and round holes, it just can't continue, can it? That's for sure. How do we beat this lot? Well, as I mentioned at the start of the podcast, we have to. We cannot be beaten in this game by will, fight, or any of that. We have to match that. That's an absolute bare minimum. We're not going to beat anyone in this team, in this division, if we don't match them for work rate, desire, hunger, and all of the attributes that, quite frankly, as a professional footballer, you shouldn't need to be told to show. It should be a natural instinct to you, because, to quote Roy Keane and yourself in the past, it is their job to do that, isn't it? And, and it's why I don't really praise work rate, because for me as a fan who's never been gifted enough to have even an ounce of the talent that these players have, for me as a fan, the work rate would be the 100% go-to of, minimum requirement. So I don't praise it when I see it. Obviously, I call it out when I don't see it, because as a fan, that's what I expect as a minimum requirement.
It's an English thing. I saw one interview with Didi Hamann, German player, midfielder, played for many clubs, and he was asked a similar question. He said, "That's not something we talk about in Germany. You just do that. The work rate is there. Must be an English thing."
Yeah, maybe. Whatever it is, we need to show it Saturday, because they're going to work hard, aren't they? Again, no disrespect, but you look through their team sheet, I don't think I'm I'm out of line to say lesser known players than what we've got. Trying to get my right words out. I won't say inferior players, but certainly players who haven't played to a level of what most of our players have played at. Therefore, you would think if quality is the determining factor on Saturday, we'll win the game. But before quality becomes the determining factor, all those things I've just mentioned have to be used to earn that.
Oh yeah, it was the old statement, isn't it? Our hard work beats quality if quality doesn't work hard. So it's a non-negotiable. It's got to be that, and I think that you guys in the stands won't accept anything less.
No, I agree, and well, and nor should we either. To be fair, um, tight little ground, isn't it? Pirelli Stadium, a nice little ground. I mean, for what they are, for they serve them really, really well. But we're used to that. That's not a problem, is it? I mean, like I said, capacity of about 7,000. We've been to grounds that have 10 times that in the last 15, 18 months. So that can't even be an excuse either, can it? In fact, to be quite honest, Jimbo, if we don't win the game on Saturday, I don't want to hear an excuse. We should win Saturday. And that's not me being big headed. That's just me using all of the tangibles that a football match should be settled on. We should win on Saturday. And I'm going back to what I said right at the start of this podcast. Bookmakers have Luton odds on to win this game of football. So if you put £1 on, you don't even get £2 back. We should win the game of football. There can be no excuses for not winning this game.
No, I think on the basis of all the stats and the position, the teams that the two have, yes. But if Luton are going to be a cup final for most teams, then you've got to expect that Burton are going to work very hard to make that not the case. So if you match the work rate and the intensity of them, that's the one thing. But then you've got to have the quality as well, and that's the one thing that hasn't clicked so far: the quality to take your chances and be dominant in a football match, and that hasn't happened so far. So we're wanting to see that, I think. And if you can show that almost in the sort of the first 15 minutes that they did against Wigan, where you went, oh, blimey, it's suddenly clicking here. I mean, it changed quite significantly after that, don't get me wrong, but it for a while it felt like that. And you got to show some impetus like that, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. And just for once, Town, let's get our dangerous players in dangerous positions. I did mention in the last podcast that we had 23 shots on goal, 7 on target, but none, zero, big fat round zero of them were in the 6-yard box, which is kind of unheard of, really, when you think that we get to the byline so many times, we get to the final third so many times that not anyone can just put the ball in the 6-yard box. It's not that the ball's not going in the 6-yard box a lot of the time. It's just that they're not going to the people in the 6-yard box, or when the ball goes through the 6-yard box, the person's not in the 6-yard box. And they're the kind of things that you hope will come together. But I remember sitting here in games 6 to 10 last season and then being the things that we hope come together. And we now need to see the eye test, don't we? We get all of this promises and everything else. We now need to see it on the pitch. You've had a week of training. Show us what you've got, and make sure that we know it, because we can win this comfortably if we do.
Well, that thing about the 6-yard box tells you everything, perhaps, about the formation not working, doesn't it, kids? If you're playing a 3-man defence with wing-backs, the wing-backs are there to attack and bomb on and cross into the box. And if they're not crossing into the 6-yard box, then there's another mark in the column of what are we doing this for, lads, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, that list has fallen off the page for me, Jimbo, has to be said. Yeah, I think, look, it's a game that we should win. It's not necessarily a game that we can turn up to win. We've got to fight and everything else. And as fans, we've got to be up for it as well. Listen, there's 1,300 of us in a crowd of 7,000. I forget what their exact capacity is, but it's less than 7,000. So we're going to have a fifth of the crowd, even if it's sold out in their end. We can make some noise. We can do a good job in this game. You know, we had a third of the crowd at Peterborough. We won the game. We were way outnumbered at Bradford, and we didn't win the game. So the crowd can play their part on Saturday, but I don't think the crowd can be expected to just turn up and go from minute 1 to 90. yeah, we'll be up for it from the start. Don't get me wrong. As I just mentioned, we're on a terrace and that creates a better atmosphere and everything else. But if it's flat after 10 minutes or that team sheet's doused a bit of optimism, it's up to the players then to restore it. And either a crunching tackle or a really good piece of play or getting our exciting players, and we hope that Millie Ali's gonna be on the left wing, and we hope that Gideon Kadir is gonna be on the right wing, into the positions whereby we're kind of looking to e enjoy it rather than we're looking up and seeing them to 40 yards from our goal rather than 20 yards from their goal.
Well, all of those things, and maybe you boys want to book yourself on a brewery tour before you get into the ground because that will always help as well. Um, but I think that perhaps away against a team like Burton and others of the similar size and stature might be a good way to feel your way into this season, in the sense that the scrutiny isn't as large as if you're playing at Kenilworth Road from the home crowd. They're expecting everything. And if you can match the work rate and you can find some quality, it's not like the chances weren't created, obviously. Hopefully that was an off day for chances created and you can pop some away. Then suddenly it changes very quickly, doesn't it? That this sort of concern of the previous podcast, the frustration of the previous one, and the result, obviously, that it influenced that, dissipates a little bit. I don't think it goes totally. It's going to be a long stretch of, you're going to have to really take a good, strong 10-game run. I'm not saying you win all those games, but something like that to reinvigorate and change people's mindsets, which I think is the thing. So it won't do that, but you have to start somewhere, and this could be one.
Yeah, just go out and entertain us, Town. You know, your manager keeps on telling us that he's trying to build a team that's going to entertain the supporters. Well, go and entertain us. You know, it's all there for us. And yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, it'd be so ironic, wouldn't it, that we win this game and win it well, and then we're really looking forward to the next game. And oh bugger, it's 2 weeks away.
Yeah, but I think that 2 weeks is going to be needed. Whatever happens in this transfer window, hopefully it's players in. I mean, we know the players that are probably going to go out. Whether they do go out is another thing, but players in to get them integrated into what you want to achieve. And then he's already hinted that this formation is trying to get to a back four. We want that to be quick. But I don't think it would change for this one. That is the ideal opportunity for it to.
Yeah, indeed. Let's hope it does. Let's hope it does, because I think people are getting to the stage now where they see this three at the back and their enthusiasm just drains. And
Well, one of the things I didn't mention in the last one that I keep seeing is that you don't need that many defenders in this division. If you're expected to be one of the teams that are going to be up, you need to flood it with attackers, don't you? You don't need them. Surely, we've seen Chris Makosso, should be solid enough. Mark McGuinness paid, 10 million for him or up to that with the add-ons or whatever. I don't know, because we don't know. But that was the reported fee, wasn't it? Something in that region. Should be able to deal with this division. Longwait, it's a Premier League player, albeit a loan. He's gone out on loan. Should be able to deal with this division. So whoever you pick of those, Mads Anderson definitely can deal with this division. He was bloody player of the season for Barnsley when he was last in this division. So can't, to me, be a three-man defence because they're not confident that any of them can do the job. They clearly all should be able to. Free the attackers, man.
you're preaching to the converted there, Jimbo. That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, I've said it before, haven't I? It's a numbers game. If you have more numbers in defence than you have in attack, chances are you're going to be better defensively than you are in attack. It's not, it's not rocket science. Didn't someone once say, someone of a bygone era, football's a simple game, complicated by you-know-whats, and, stop complicating it. Make it simple. Put four defenders in. Listen, if we're playing against a team that have three attackers, then okay, a back three's fine. We ain't yet played one who's got two attackers, let alone three. And now, if we need three centre backs to deal with one person, one up front, you take him, I'll cover. Or I'll take him, you cover. Simple solution. It's not, I'll take him and you two can cover me. It's none of this nonsense. As I said in the last podcast, I'm convinced that it's for Cal Naismith. We'll stick him in midfield alongside Saville and let's have a right old good go at it. Because actually, when you get Naismith in midfield, not only do you get a geezer who's very good on the ball, technically, you also get a guy who can get forward and create something, which he can't do from that left centre-back position. Yes, he can carry the ball and he's got that incredible diag on him, which we're not seeing because, hey, the right wing-back can't go past the halfway line at the minute. But he could create something, or he can do that Bournemouth piece of magic, Cal Naismith, because Saville will be behind him, so he can just say, look, you go, son, create that little bit of magic, or entice a defender on, or win the ball back high. He's very good at winning the ball back high, Cal Naismith. He would probably be better than Liam Walsh at that right now. So you don't even need to change the personnel. Obviously, we want Kadir and Bramwell as fullbacks Bramwell at fullback, Kadir at right wing. But apart from that, you don't need to change the personnel. You just need to adjust their positions. You could have McGuinness and Makosso centre half. You can have Saville, Naismith in front of them. You can still have the same attacking core. They're just further up the pitch. And that would be absolutely perfect. Scare the living daylights out of the right back with Millie Ali, with Cohen Bramwell overlapping. And if he's playing left back, he ain't got to go up and down, so he should be able to do 90 minutes. It's not like at wing back where he's got to get forward and then 5 seconds later he's got to be back on the edge of our box. Should be able to do more minutes doing that. Get 90 minutes into him and all of a sudden he can do a few more minutes against Barnet and hey presto, his pre-season done and dusted. On the other side, scare the living daylights out of the left back or left wing back, depending on how they play, by having Gideon Kadir going up against him. And if you've got Nigel Longwhite right now, or if Rue Waters is fit and he's chosen there, in behind him, and again, occasionally overlapping, but backing him up more than anything else, so that if Kadir loses the ball, it's not back in our goal, you've got protection behind him, then we're in an absolutely good shape. We're attacking from both sides. The strikers know if they make a run, chances are we've got the ball from both sides, they're going to get the ball. It opens the pitch up to create space for the midfielders. Saville, if it's Naismith, Clark, Baptiste, whoever it may be, and the four I've just named there, mighty good on the ball, can all pick a pass. I am absolutely lost why we won't do that. It's not that we haven't got the personnel. Is it ideal that Nigel Longwhite plays right back? No, it's not. But it's much more ideal that than he plays right wing back, where he gets a nosebleed when he goes past the halfway line. And again, I stress, it's not on him. That's not his position. It's not what his strengths are. And ditto the other way. If Cohen Bramwell's only got to do half the work, surely he can do twice the minutes.
And there, ladies and gentlemen, is your team sheet, courtesy sponsored by Kevin Harper. I can't disagree with any of that, mate. I think that's staring everybody in the face. It's just got to be done. And I hope to some degree it will be. I don't think you're going to get the full shebang on that. And if you do, you'll be well happy when those team sheets come out. But something somewhere's got to change. I think that most people want it all to happen straight away, and that's understandable. But I don't want to see Miliani defending. That's it, and then see what that brings.
Having championed for this for 2 years, when we change to this, we're going to be like absolutely battered, aren't we? And they're all going to say, "I told you so."
Hey, what are we going to talk about then? Hey?
Going back to a back three, how fantastic it was. That's football, folks. We change our opinions every 2 minutes or so. That's pretty much it for this episode of the podcast. All I can say is just release a Shackles Town. No need to have Shackles on in this division, and stop giving so much respect to other clubs and other opposition.
Yeah.
We're Luton Town. Get back to being Luton.
Yeah, I mean that. All those formations and changes seem to me to deal with threats that aren't all over this division. Championship, yeah, sure, fine. Premier League, of course. You can get killed easily in those divisions. We saw Wigan have loads of chances, and Paul Mullins, as deadly as they come as a lower league striker, and couldn't get past Keeley. Yeah, we've seen Cardiff take one good chance, and the Bantam scored 2, but it's not everywhere in this division that you've got those players, because they don't last long in this division. If they're there, they get bought up and off they go, as we've seen with trying to get strikers in. So you don't need those levels and layers of protection, I don't think. And just, release the shackles is what you said. Do that, get them going forward.
The Luton. Absolutely. We'll finish the podcast as we always do with the score predictions. I think it must be my turn to go first, Jimbo. Despite everything last Saturday, despite all the fears and the concerns and everything else that I've got, I still think that we're good enough to win this game of football. Listen, if we were playing Plymouth tomorrow, not sure. And that's not, and that's even allowing for the fact that Plymouth have started like basket cases. If we were playing Huddersfield tomorrow, definitely not sure, but we're not. We're playing Burton. And I just can't believe that we are in that bad a place that we can't win this football match. So we're going to have the same result as Peterborough, 2-0 Luton.
Okay, well, I'm going to go back by popular demand, even though nobody has demanded it. I'm going to go because clearly what's been wrong with this season is that we've not had reverse psychology for the win. And so here it is, your first shot at it this season. Burton going to win 1-0.
1-0 Burton, I mean, crikey. I think I'd cry, Jimbo. I genuinely think I'd cry. Which is okay, because we've got lots of beer to cry into by all accounts here.
Well, I'd get off the board, wouldn't I? But if not, then Luton win. So, or draw, I don't know. Win-win, isn't it?
Well, no.
These are the mind games. This is the mind games we deliver to you people.
Indeed it is. And yeah, absolutely. Realistically, 2-0 Luton. And let's hope that we're celebrating come full-time on Saturday. Yeah. Burton as a place... I've been to both the games that we played there, but I can't remember a great deal about it. What do you sort of recollect of it? Have you been?
Oh, yeah. The last one was that when we thought we were going to be walked into the League One title. Eventually we got it, obviously, but went up there and that was a bit of a shock. So, yeah, not particularly happy memories up at Burton. There's not been that many. It does smell nice if you like beer, though, when you get into the town. So there's a treat for you.
Smell of amber nectar whilst we're hopefully watching the town win. Yeah, listen, we'd beaten Cardiff 5 straight. That went a bit pear-shaped. And beat this lot at their place. Let's hope that we reverse that particular trend. And get your score predictions into us, everyone. You obviously got maximum time to get that in by 3 o'clock, please. And obviously, as always, we will give you a shout out in the review episode, which will be out at normal time on Monday morning. If you get the correct score, I will do an instant reaction after the game, all being well. And hopefully I'm talking about something much, much more positive. If you see me and you want to be on, just come and tap me on the shoulder before I start recording, and we'll make that happen. That should be out with you Saturday afternoon, just around tea time, once I've got time to take the video, get it over to Jimbo, hopefully with no one in and around the vicinity. I'll get it to you quite quickly with phone signals these days, and we'll get that up and everything else. And just to mark your card for next week, we're not going to preview the Barnet game in full. We'll say a few words to it when we review the Burton game. The Blackpool game has now been postponed, if you've not heard that. What we will do is we will review the whole of the week of the transfer window and everything else, and the season so far, in a special episode that will come out instead of a Blackpool review episode on that Monday, and then we'll be back to normal for the Plymouth game and beyond.
That sounds like a plan. Yeah, we will be back. It's been a bit stop-start, well, particularly for me anyway, in August. I've done all my summer public engagements and weddings and speeches and holidays and all that stuff. And I'll be back doing the games.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks to everyone for watching or listening to this podcast, however it is that you've consumed it. We really, really do appreciate your support. If you have a ticket for the away end on Saturday, be loud and proud. Get right behind the boys from start to finish. Hopefully they make it a little bit easier for us to keep on supporting them with a much more enjoyable, energetic performance than what we've seen in the last couple of games. And Yeah, fingers crossed. We're all happy. Thanks also to all of the folks at Marsh House, the proud new home of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast. And as always, to Sean Grant and the Wolfgang for our intro music. Until next time, which is the review of Saturday's game, which we hope will be so much more entertaining and enjoyable than ones that have gone before it. From Jimbo and myself, get those shackles off, Town, please.